Hello, I'm Jeffrey Fox. I'm the instructor for this class, Big Data Open Source Software and Projects. And this particular unit, Unit 1, has 3 lessons, parts A, B, and C. And it's a very short motivation in terms of the trends in big data and the trends in clouds and other computing aspects. This is part of the data science curriculum and is offered in a special session March through May of 2015. So now let's move on to this short lesson here. So the first few slides here describe what's called the digital data and cloud backdrop, namely the context of what we're doing. Most of these slides, this particular next set, come from Gartner, which has this very well-known technology, emerging technology hype curves, which basically list technologies in terms of their maturity and adoption. And we will discuss the things in terms of that. And Gartner also relates this to their view of the way the world is going. Before we get started on this course, I noticed that the data science curriculum has 2 tracks, a technical track and a decision maker track. You can mix courses from each track, it's up to you, but the decision maker track tends to have little software and not so mathematically demanding. This particular course, the big data software course, it's in the technical track because of it has extensive programming, because the goal of this course is to teach you about this wonderful software with 300 packages, which is driving this revolution, and get you some experience of how to use it. So please join me, technical track members, and let's get started on and understand the backdrop of what we're doing. Thank you very much. Here we have a famous graph. It's the graph from 2013, so-called emerging technology hype cycle. And it takes some 40 technologies and plots them on this nice shaped curve, which is meant to describe the path of any technology. Technologies get born over here. People get excited about. Some of them, of course, just immediately die. Most of what I do is dies. But some of them come up, ride this curve. They get to the top with lots of articles and incredible enthusiasm and statements that the life is going to be changed forever. And then reality sets in, and it starts going down the curve, and it enters the so-called trough of disillusionment. And actually, here is a place where, again, many technologies actually don't make it. They end up in the trough and don't get out of it. However, many technologies will make the transition. They will get gradually adopted with early adopters, and then it will get into production, and lots of companies will pick them up and use it. The technologies we're talking about today, which is big data, in my opinion, will not get stuck in the trough. Cloud computing will not get stuck in the trough. And they will all make it into the plateau of productivity. They are just too important. I've highlighted with red arrows things which are particularly interesting for this class: Internet of Things, or I should say for data science, Internet of Things, content analytics. That's analytics. Anything to do with analytics is important. Databases and in memory, especially the in-memory databases to speed everything up, are important. That's this arrow here. We've already mentioned cloud computing. Here we have another in-memory, another analytics. And that's what life was in 2013. If we look to 2014, which chart just came out a couple of weeks ago, we will see a few changes. Quite surprisingly, data science, which I wouldn't actually view as a technology, let alone an emerging technology, it might be an emerging science, is here. It's rising up this innovation-driven curve, and it's not yet even been overhyped. So you're getting in here on the early stages of an important thing. We have more analytics here. We have our Internet of Things is actually now at the maximum height point. Big data is coming down towards the trough. As I said, it will make it through the trough. Here's the variant of cloud computing. Cloud computing is still stuck dangerously near the trough, but it will make it through. Here we have more analytics, which we mentioned before, and in-memory database systems. And here's more analytics. So it's actually pretty similar. The most exciting change is that data science has emerged. Now we can go through a little more detail that Gartner gave. I should point out that I have not read the full report. It is quite expensive. And what I've got comes from the freely available blogs and the press release from Gartner. And so Gartner identifies 6 stages for the digital business development part. They call them models, but they're really stages. You can start at the beginning and get to the end. And we're focused on the emerging, which are these 3 stages here: digital marketing, digital business, and autonomy. Autonomy is where the ultimate intelligence occurs and things happen using the miracle of artificial intelligence in a relatively automatic fashion. This is the link to the Gartner press release, which has the details of this in it. And let's just go through one slide each on these 3 stages here, stage 4, 5, and 6. All right, so digital marketing. Actually, these names are not terribly intuitive to me, but here we have the confluence of these 3 major activities or forces, as they say: mobile computing, social network, cloud computing, and just data. I should point out there's a well-known pipeline, which I discussed in the class I did last semester. The data, process data, information, knowledge, wisdom, decision pipeline. And so in this sense, the information is just a form of data with a little bit of processing done to it to make it interpretable. And here we're trying to do the first steps to bring all these things together, to build the websites that will reach the customers who are going to be able to use their social networking and their mobile phones to do things. And we're going to be building recommender engines to be able to record people's preferences, match them with their preferences of their colleagues, and so on. And everything is and we are clearly in this new world, businesses have a much closer focus, much closer relationship with their customers, because the businesses are using the data on what customers click and what they buy to be able to know what a customer's status is. So here are the technologies for this initial step. We have data science as classified here at this stage here. We have analytics. Streaming and events are very important for all of these applications. Here we have just the basic concept of big data. We mentioned here the in-memory databases, more analytics, cloud computing of various types, and other aspects which like speech recognition is obviously a critical part of this, these technologies, and indeed things like some aspect of big data, namely deep learning, is really helping to do things like speech recognition. So actually, most of the technologies we care about are in this digital marketing phase. Now we come to digital business, where things are much more integrated. And we also here highlight something which I think is really important, the Internet of Things. There are some 24 to 50 billion devices expected by 2020 in the Internet of Things. The number probably doesn't differ from the way people look at the world. It depends what you count. When you have, say, a car with lots of devices in it, you count every device, are just the devices that connect to the outside world. Because the car, without being connected to the internet, you can't really think of the things in it, the digital devices in it as internet, as part of the Internet of Things. So I believe the differences in the estimates are due to that. So we have here 3D printing emphasized, and we're going to be able to print our own house, or maybe print our own university or our own company soon. And that's another aspect of the digitization of everything. We might call that a theme of the world. We have digitized everything. So remember here we have attributes of people. That's their smartwatches and other types of devices they're using, so that we find out everything about ourselves. That's partly due to the quantified self movement, so that people know how their body is. We know about bitcoins, or maybe maybe there are better ways of doing cryptocurrencies. And this is the next step after bringing these forces together. And here we have a whole new set of technologies, which are really, apart from Internet of Things, as they're sort of more applied, they don't directly convert into things we'll cover in this class. The software you're building can help to do things like digital security and smart workspaces. The connected home, which is taking the Internet of Things, spreading the things through the home, connecting the homes to the internet, analyzing the data across lots of homes to see for trends and things like that. So this is already starting to happen, pretty exciting. Now we have the final intelligent world, which hopefully isn't so intelligent it puts us out of business. And we have, of course, technologies which are like humans. That's the feature of the autonomous world. We know a lot about self-driving cars. They're actually even deployed already. And we'll be able to write our own papers. There's lots of scandals about people who don't do that so cleverly now. At least if one does plagiarism, one ought to be able to do it cleverly. And these are all, help systems that are actually done by computer, but are more useful than the current mundane things that people offer, is an obvious goal here. So here we have, these are all connected with people and human-like things. Human augmentation, brain-computer interface. Quantum computing is a little different, actually. It's what's going to maybe continue Moore's law, at least for some cases. Smart robots. Robots are very important. You can think of robots as part of the Internet of Things, at least all the devices in them. And in some sense, a self-driving car is just a very big robot, just as a satellite sent off into spaces. And natural language question and answering. That's again the idea that the human will pose or actually another machine will pose a question in a human language. It will be automatically properly translated. Its nuances understood using deep learning. It will then be handed to a giant machine learning system to produce the answer. Such as, that was always been the dream of artificial intelligence, but now it's starting to be realized. Now we come to the next lesson. These units, which are the basic PowerPoint slides, are divided into lessons, and now we get to the next one. Thank you.